The topic that I chose for discussion was adaptations defend against predators in the case of insects. Here I would like to highlight the concept of adaptations, which is any heritable trait which have an advantageous role under specific environmental conditions. And here we have an example in plants, but related to insects. In looping flowers, the lower petals form a tube and it contains pollen. So when a bee visits this flower looking for food, the weight of the bee compresses the tube, forcing pollen out of the tube onto the bee's abdomen. So the next flower that the bee visits, it's going to be pollinated. Here we have another example of adaptations in flower but related to insects. When this visits the flowers, stamens goes down and put the pollen into the bee's abdomen and wings. So when the bees fly, they are going to spread the pollen. As you can see, when the bees press the flower, stamens goes down. And this is a concept map which organizes several kind of adaptations, but here we're going to focus on camouflage and mimicry. And I would like to start asking students which of these two organisms is mimicking. And I expect that at least some of them pick the seahorse, who is actually camouflaging among the corals. So after discussing this question with the students, we can explain the difference between those two concepts. So camouflage is about hiding. It is background matching, and it is in this way the species go unnoticed for their predators or sometimes unnoticed for their prey. So here we have a classic example, the stick insect, much like the branches of a tree, or these orchid monkeys, very similar in shape and color to orchids, as you notice in their pink legs and abdomen. This is another good example of camouflage, a killer or carnivore caterpillar who use camouflage to capture their prey.
Let's face it, most caterpillars already look pretty strange, but their behavior isn't. Larvae of both moths and butterflies, most caterpillars spend their short lives inching from leaf to leaf, munching on vegetation. But this caterpillar isn't a vegetarian. It's a professional killer. On the island of Hawaii, 18 of the 20 native species of caterpillar have evolved into carnivorous predators. Perfectly camouflaged and armed with sharp, pincer-like claws, the larva cuts a channel into the leaf and waits. Other species mimic twigs or leaves, and these unsuspecting fruit flies never had a chance. No one knows why Hawaii's caterpillars turned into insect eaters, but one thing's for certain. In the evolutionary soup of isolated islands, it's easy to dish up something bizarre.
Okay, so after this example, we have mimicry. This is the case. In this case, the species resemble the stateful one or danger ones or any other species to get an advantage, usually against predators. This is an example of mimicry in flowers related to insects too. This orchid resembles a female bee or wasp. Let me put the play. And they have some similar colors and even some chemical substance similar to pheromones. So this male thinks that the flower is a female bee. So this male is going to try to mate with this flower, And in this process, as you can see, the male got two kind of stem sticks in his head. So when he fly and visit other flowers, he is going to spread the pollen. It's a good example. So if you want to be more specific, there are two types of mimicry, the Vatesian mimicry and the Mullerian mimicry. And in Vatesian mimicry, a venic, edible, and palatable species, the mimic, closely resembles a dangerous toxic species, the model, and benefits from the avoidance behavior learned by predators. So in this example, a hoverfly looks like a bee, which is poisonous, but a hoverfly doesn't have poison. And we know that this is a hoverfly and not a bee because hoverfly only have one pair of wings, while bees have two pairs of wings. The other type of mimicry is Mullerian mimicry, and in this case, two or more unpalatable species resemble each other. Presumably, the more unpalatable prey there are, the more quickly predators learn to avoid prey with that particular appearance. As we can see, this blue jay here learning to not eat monarch butterflies, which is as distasteful as the viceroy butterfly. So in this way, both protect each other against predators. And the last type of mimicry is startle coloration. It corresponds to animals with patterns resembles a head with their respective eyes at the posterior end of the body usually, or other body parts of a bigger and stronger species. So in these examples, predators of this caterpillar larva are deterred by its resemblance to a snake. And here we have many other examples of larvae, and this kind of big ace resembles a proportional much bigger animal like in this caterpie Pokemon. Or for example this moth, those spots looks like spider legs. So my activity here is show examples about this type of camouflage and mimicry and ask students to identify what type of adaptations each example corresponds to. So for example, this tree hopper resembling thorns on a branch, or a moth whose color and shape resembles a bird dropping seeds motionless on a leaf, or this dry leaf mantis similar to a, well, dry leaf. And all those were examples of camouflage. This is a harmless moth who looks like a wasp, and it is an example of Vatesian mimicry. Or these three harmless butterflies who looks like the poisonous top butterfly also is another example of Vatesian mimicry. And this is an example of Mullerian mimicry because all of these wasps can bite predators, but they still resemble each other. And finally, some examples of startle coloration, like this peacock moth or this owl butterfly, who resembles an owl's head while they are mating. So this was my activity. I still need to mix those examples and maybe add a little more examples, but I can't wait for your comments. Bye.